If you're a working mom and it never feels like you're doing enough, even though you're doing so much and exhausted, you're not alone. And it's not your fault. It's because most of us are operating in systems that were not designed to be sustainable for working moms. Just one generation ago, most people in leadership and high responsibility roles were men who had wives at home handling everything else for them. And now we're expected to lead, perform, show up fully at work, while also being deeply present and be everything for our families. And a lot of us are trying to do both perfectly. If we haven't met, I'm Anne. I'm a psychologist, a coach, and I support working moms with exactly this: how to create success that actually feels sustainable across their work, their families, and their own well-being. What I see over and over again is that the women I work with are totally capable. They're ambitious and they care deeply. They're used to getting straight A's, and so they try to get A's in everything: work, parenting, relationships, their own health. We don't lower the bar anywhere. We just stretch ourselves thinner while trying to jump over it. So instead of asking, how do I do more? Should I wake up at 5:30 a.m.? How about 5? The question becomes, do I actually have the capacity for what I'm expecting myself to do, or what others are expecting me to do? Capacity is having the time, resources, and support to meet expectations that are achievable across work and home. And this is actually the first of 6 conditions for sustainable success that I work on with clients, as well as organizations who support them. Because without capacity, nothing else really works. If you have the handout in front of you, this is where we start. Just take a moment to look at those first questions. Start by asking yourself, 1, where am I feeling most overloaded right now at work or home, or both? And what am I carrying that others don't see? This is invisible labor, mental load. You're probably carrying a lot. And noticing that is the first step. You don't have to fix everything at once either. If you're open to it, you can share in the chat. What's an area that you're feeling really stressed right now? Or what's something that you wish others would see that you're carrying? To start resetting our capacity, we should remember D.D.R, not Dance Dance Revolution, but the first D is delegate. Share or transfer responsibility. One of my friends messaged me lately and said, I don't need more help. What I need is fewer responsibilities. So that's what delegating is about, carrying less. The second D is defer. That's shifting the timing. That's adjusting deadlines or timelines so that the non-essential things are covered later and only the essential is handled now. That's really important to reduce overwhelm. And R stands for redesign. How can you make it easier, or how can you make it realistic? By resetting the bar. In the handout I developed for you, I have 7 areas that are commonly causes of overload for working moms that I know, and for myself. And I'm going to talk through just a few of them. So first one, meal prep. I'll give you an example from my own life. I actually love cooking, but some of the time. I used to have this unrealistic bar that I should be making home-cooked meals, every day of the week. And I was getting a little too elaborate with it, honestly. So I had to reset the bar. Now I cook about 4 nights a week. I keep it simple. I use prepared foods when I need to. The other nights we're having leftovers, we're eating out, or doing something that doesn't require cooking, like a bag of salad and a protein that's pre-made. That alone has created so much more space because I'm spending less time thinking about meals and preparing them. Work obviously is a major source of overload for us. And I was just talking with my mentor about this. We both care so much about our impact, being responsive, being excellent at what we do, being great leaders. But doing everything well for everyone all the time is exhausting and it's unsustainable. So at work, this can look like pushing back when extra tasks come up from a client or from a boss, or even questioning ourselves, do I really need to do this right now? It also looks like extending a deadline so that we're not rushing to complete it. Also redefining what actually needs to be done at the highest level versus what is good enough. Think B+ or even C work. I know that's hard to accept, but that's what it takes to succeed sustainably and still be an excellent leader. And looking at area 7, the last area, social and volunteer events, I actually love being social. I would tend to say yes to pretty much any invitation because I love connecting with people. But If I said yes to everything, it's exhausting. So now I'm more thoughtful and intentional about what I say yes to and when I schedule it. So I'm thinking in terms of who fills my cup, spacing things out so I'm not overloaded on a particular week, and keeping things simple. So for example, for my son's 8th birthday, instead of something elaborate, maybe hosting at our house, which would require cleaning, which I hate, what we actually did instead was invited a bunch of families to a park. So the kids played while the adults connected, and everyone enjoyed some desserts at the end. And it was actually better than a more elaborate birthday party plan. So that's an example of redesign. Now let's talk for a second about boundaries. I think this is where a lot of advice falls short. Everyone says set boundaries or just say no or just do less, but it's not actually that simple. What I focus on instead is intentionally redesigning your life so you say yes to what matters and you say no or not now to the things that don't or the things that aren't urgent or achievable with the time, resources, or support that you currently have. So I've provided this handout for you with 7 areas and examples of delegating, deferring, and redesign. So I'd love to hear from you. What's something you've already done that's helped your capacity in one of those areas? And what's one shift that you're thinking of making after this? So this is the kind of work that I do with women inside my Sustainable Success for Working Mothers program. We take these ideas and actually apply them in ways that fit your real life and what matters to you. If this resonated, I'd love to connect. You can message me capacity on Instagram at dr.anlospital or reach out on LinkedIn or email. And for now, I recommend just starting small. What's one area you want to shift? And what's one small step you can take this week to delegate, defer, or redesign in that area? One shift from the handout can make a real difference.